I just recently watched Toy Story 5 with my family, and I have to admit, it was a pretty good movie. Now, it probably isn't my favorite Toy Story, but it definitely has one of the more powerful messages that can be conveyed in these type of animated films. And if you have young kids like I do, well, it definitely hits home. So just know that there might be some spoiler alerts here, so if you want to click off here, feel free to click off. At the beginning of the movie, we meet our main character, Bonnie, who has been with us since Toy Story 3. She's a little bit older now. At the beginning of Toy Story 3, I think she was 3 or 4 years old, and here she is fully grown at 8 years old. About. And beginning, she's playing with her toys, and she runs outside and she tries to play with some kids across the street, and they run away from her. Now, Jesse, our new sheriff, right? Jesse, who just became sheriff in Toy Story 4. Well, she's the new sheriff in town, and of course, she's a little mad that the kids from across the street don't want to play with Bonnie. So she's like, "I'm gonna go do something about it." She runs across the street and she meets some toys who, well, they don't look like they're in the best shape, and she's like, "What's going on here?" And the toys explain to her that, well, the kids in the house, they don't play with us anymore. And Jesse's confused, like, "What do you mean?" So, what these toys, these abandoned toys in the yard, they're like, "Come with us." They go on top of the roof and they're like, "Hey, go look out here. What do you see?" And then you see all these houses, there's windows, and you see through the windows, everyone is on a device, their lily pad. That's what they call it, the lily pad. So basically, our equivalent of the tablet or iPad. So these abandoned toys start telling Jessie how she's basically gonna be irrelevant because she's gonna get replaced with this lily pad soon enough. And Jessie's like, "Oh, that's never gonna happen. Bonnie loves us." And love can only go so far. Eventually, one day, Bonnie's parents buys her a lily pad, and they bought this because, well, Bonnie was looking sad, and every other kid had a lily pad. So they figure that buying her this will bring her joy, and maybe it'll help her connect with other kids, since every kid has one. And just like all the toys come to life, the lily pad comes to life as well. And the lily pad has a confrontation with the sheriff, Jesse, and Buzz Lightyear. Oh, now I can't not mention the side story that is happening as the main story is unfolding. There's a shipwreck that happened, or a container, where the container lands on an isolated island. It's full of Buzz Lightyears, and the Buzz Lightyears are trying to find their way to Star Command. And I'll just leave it at that. During this initial confrontation, Lilypad proceeds to tell Jessie and the other toys how she is so much more superior to them because she can make Bonnie friends in ways that they can't. And to show this, she sends an invite to a few of Bonnie's friends from dance class. Invite sent, invite accepted. So when Bonnie logs on to Lilypad, she sees that her friends accepted the invite that the Lilypad sent, and they start chatting in the chat rooms, and they're all friends, right? The movie progresses, and you'll see Bonnie basically getting addicted to her lily pad, which I'm sure, again, if you are a young parent or if you spend a lot of time on social media, you've been hearing about the iPad generation, and that's what Bonnie becomes. She is consumed by her iPad. As soon as she wakes up, she needs to log on so she can chat with her friends. And this consumes her, and she eventually forgets about her toys, which makes them very sad. So, this movie is about that addiction that younger generations have. And let's be real, a lot of adults have. We are just consumed with the tech that we have now, whether we are on our iPads or on our phones. We're just constantly doom scrolling or trying to make connections online that, well, don't really seem real. And the friends Bonnie made through Lilypad, well, she finds out that they're not really her friends. And yes, there is a happy ending to this story. Uh, Bonnie makes a friend with another kid who happens to have the same imagination that she does, where this other kid is not addicted to screens like every other kid, thanks to Jesse's persistent on making or finding that friend that Bonnie really needs at this moment. And again, watching this movie really makes you think, is technology, the current technology that we have, how useful is it? Obviously, the current technology that we have is useful. And the message that Toy Story 5 is trying to convey is not saying that, hey, stop all tech, no iPads, no phones, no computers. It's saying that things like this is good in moderation. Sometimes you just have to go out there and, well, make friends in the real world. And that you can't rely on tech to do everything for you, especially making connections with other humans. Speaking of humans, have you ever hung out with a group of friends at their place or your place, or you're at a restaurant or a bar, and you're all sitting around and you're all staring at your phones? There's like five, six, seven of you, and everyone's staring at their phones, checking their social media, updating their status. Why? And this is not to shame anyone because I'm guilty of doing it myself. And I know there are times where I've paid attention to my phone more than I do my kids. It happened recently where my kid wants to play and I'd rather be scrolling through Reddit or Instagram than play a game of Risk with him. We know that social media companies are creating these things to keep us hooked, to get us addicted so that we spend a lot of time on their apps. That's no secret. We live in an age where boredom is really not a thing anymore. We can be entertained at any minute of the day or night. If you are awake at 1 a.m. in the morning, well, you don't have to just turn on the TV and go to some random cable channel to watch a show that aired 30 years ago. Well, you can do that now, but there are other things to keep you preoccupied. You can go on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or just some random website to keep yourself entertained because for some reason you just can't fall asleep. And the natural thing to do when you wake up is to pick up your phone and see if anyone has messaged you, right? In this day and age of constantly being connected, we're losing a lot of things like critical thinking. A lot of people don't read books anymore. And me, myself, well, I read a lot of books. I've always been a voracious reader at a very young age. When I was 8 years old, I was reading the Redwall series by Ryan Jacques. And that probably led to my love of fantasy novels. And eventually I went on to read Lord of the Rings. And I remember in high school, I read the book Shogun, which is now an amazing TV show. But I read that when I was 16 years old. And that book has over 1,000 pages long. Are there any 16-year-olds reading books that have 1,000 pages today? I read a very fascinating article just this morning. It's called The End of Reading is Here, and it was posted on The Atlantic. I want to read a passage here, and if you want to read the entirety of that article, you can find the link below. Reading has come to seem extraneous even to some of the best educated members of society. Margaret Renix, Harvard's Assistant Director for Humanities and Social Sciences Support, told me she'd spoken with a student who was struggling to read a book written in Old English. The culprit? Anthony Burgess' 1962 novel A Clockwork Orange. Hmm. Oh my gosh. The Clockwork Orange? Old English? Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. It is funny reading that because I am a literature major and I read Old English in college. Beowulf is Old English. For a student to say Old English is the Clockwork Orange. All right, let's continue the passage. The student used ChatGPT to translate the book into easier language. Not long ago, a Harvard sociology professor, troubled by course evaluations in which students said they resented the amount of dense reading they were assigned, asked Renix to speak to his class in defense of reading. She had to explain to students at America's most elite university taking a course in a discipline rooted in written observation, argumentation, and analysis that excerpts and summaries cannot capture the depth and sophistication of a complete primary text. Renex told me that some students now view reading as an unnecessarily burdensome way of acquiring knowledge. By asking them to read, she said, professors are arbitrarily withholding information from students by forcing them to get it through this more difficult medium. I'm a teacher by trade, and it has been a while since I've had any students read a book, and not because I don't want them to read a book, is that it's not part of the curriculum that is set forth. And to me, that's kind of sad. There is clearly a subject for a deep dive here, but let's bring it back to where I started, and that's Toy Story 5. And as I mentioned, Toy Story 5 was a great movie with a great message, and I hope that parents that took their kids to watch it really took something away from it. And that if you are one of those parents who may spend too much time on their phones or have their kids spend too much time on their iPads, well, try spending some time with them not doing those things. Play a board game with them, go outside, and just do something that's not on the screen. And I'm saying this for myself as well. If you've seen Toy Story 5, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And if you did like this video, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. So I'll see you all in the next one.